Hello coaches and welcome to this edition of Give and Go Live. My name's David Newbury and I'm joined by my colleague Ian Barker. Hello Ian.
Hello David, how are you today?
Very good, thank you. And today's topic is Can You, which is an activity for coaches working with younger players. And the objective of this activity is to try and get the players moving with the ball and each player having a ball each. So we'll go to our first slide. And as you can see by this setup, we have a square. And that square can certainly depend on the age group of your players, but we have a 20 by 20 yard area. Each player has a ball, and the coach starts the activity also with a ball by saying, "Can you?" And the coach performs a task, asks the players to repeat it. Can you repeat it? And off they go performing. And we can start with fundamental activities like dribbling with the laces, a simple turn, a step-on turn, and then build up the intensity as we go. And the objective for every player is to copy the coach. So Ian, can we talk a little about some of the methods we might use on this activity?
Sure. So one of the keys here is we're in this sort of 4, 5, 6-year-old, is that every kid has their own soccer ball. So everything is going to be self-referenced. So when the coach sets the challenge and asks the kids to show them something or ask them if they can do something, the child is really working to their own self-referenced ability. As we all know, the square is really just a guideline as much for the coach as it is for the players, because sometimes the young children can't observe the boundaries, and that's completely okay. What's nice, though, is as they work and they try to find their own space and not bump into each other and collide and so on and so forth, the coach can then go around and give a little bit of individual attention to a child that's maybe doing something differently or struggling. And of course, you know, this is quite a big coach to player ratio for this one coach if these children are 5, 6, 7. So this is where you bring in maybe an assistant coach, you bring in some parent coaches so the kids get a little bit more attention. But just lots of activity with short bursts of activity, quick rest, short bursts of activity.
Okay, so now we go to our sequence number 2. And this one, same idea. We still got players with a ball, but this is an ideal environment for our players to work on different turns. So if we are going to encourage our players to use different movements in a game, this is a good chance for us to practice them and for the coach to demonstrate. And one of the things that certainly we would encourage coaches to do is use the opportunity to demonstrate an activity, but also find a player that might be able to perform the activity well and get them to demonstrate as well. Also, this environment provides us with an ideal opportunity to differentiate the level and the challenge level for each player. We can do easier turns and more difficult turns in the same session using both the preferred feat and the non-preferred feat. Ian, what do we have methodology-wise on this activity?
Yeah, so I really like this idea of engaging the players in a question. So, for example, how do we stop from bumping into each other? So the vocabulary becomes appropriate for the kids. So how do we stop from falling off the map? Or how do we stop from bumping into somebody else or colliding, or whatever that term is? I love the idea of the coach demonstrating. So the coach maybe sets the standard or sets the theme with a demonstration. But prior to that, you tell the kids you'd like one of them to demonstrate something after you've done it. So they have a chance to think about what they might want to demonstrate, and then they can volunteer to demonstrate in that notion of can you or show me. And again, critical that at this age, every child has a ball, so that most of their skills and their willingness to challenge themselves is self-referenced. So maybe David can make 3 turns in 30 seconds, but Ian can only make 1. So it's not trying to get everybody up to the same score. It's just trying to improve on your own individual score. And this way you get a nice equal set of challenges within the training.
And our final sequence, we have a slightly different look and feel. We have the coach in one corner and all of the players in a position where they can see the coach. And this could be useful for activities like foundations or toe taps or ball rolls, activities where the coach might encourage the players to lift their heads, to observe the coach, and then perform the activity somewhat without looking at the ball. So Ian, our final methodology slide.
Yeah, so I really like this as a terms of a progression. So initially, Let them just explore the space themselves. They've probably got their heads down. They're probably struggling to manipulate the entire environment. But now you make it a little bit more coach focused just for a break, and they have to perform a certain skill, and they're all going to try to do it at a similar type of level. And this is where if you as the coach have a couple of little step over moves, if you know a little turn, or maybe you've got an assistant coach, you can give the kids some formal work that could be maybe their homework. They can take these activities home, practice them, and then when they come back the following day or the following training, you can go through the show me protocol, and they can start to show you how proud they are or happy they are with a little bit of an achievement with something a bit more formal.
Well, thank you, coaches, for joining us for another edition of Give and Go. Can You is an activity that can certainly work very well for the introductory age groups, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. But as you work through the age groups, you can also work this type of activity with older players. So thanks again for joining us, and look forward to having you join us on the next Give and Go Live.